Welcome back everyone to Jface Games. Today what we are doing is I'm just going to take you through a little project I've been working on, and this is jfacegames.com. I know I have my own website. I like to web design on the side. I think it's fun, it's therapeutic, it's relaxing. It's not frustrating at all, let me tell you, when things start breaking. No, it's something I like to do. And so I've been trying to create a website for TTRPG designers and fans. So let me know what you think. I'll take you through a quick little walkthrough of some of the features, but definitely let me know what you think in terms of utility. So get in the comments and start writing some stuff down. So let me give you an idea. So right off the bat, you're going to come up to this area called Game Write-Ups, and here are a bunch of the games that I've either reviewed and had YouTube videos for, or that other people, for instance, Epi, he's one of the guys on the Discord, he's one of the admins on Discord, who's a good guy, and he's been writing up some as well. And so what happens if you click on any one of these, it will take you to the actual sort of write-up. This write-up is what I kind of use to base a lot of my actual videos for it, and you can see here links to the videos on Crown and Skull. Here's the teach and here's the play. And then here's a breakdown of things like the resolution mechanic, the what are the ancestry kin race that they use in that system, what are the skills. I can do this drop down, I can see all the skills that are in that game, what are the classes, etc., etc. All right, and then at the very bottom there's a character sheet typically for each of the actual games, and sometimes I'll have little clips from the games, kind of images. Anyways, this exists for all of the games. So if I went into Shadowbane, Shadowbane, that's old school. Shadow Dark, you can see here, same thing as the resolution system, blah, 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 etc. The idea is that this becomes a repository. Not only does it become a review sort of for certain TTRPGs, but it becomes a repository for the actual mechanics, because that's what I think the designers, those that come to my channel and that are in the Discord channel, that's what we talk a lot about, is different mechanics and the feel and the kind of concepts. So if at any point in time you clicked on one of these mechanics, now not all of these work, there's only the top two work. In the future, I just haven't had the time yet to build out a lot of these, and also I don't know if people want this, so you let me know. If I click on base resolution, boom, here are some base resolutions that you can use for your system. And then down here, you can see here the games currently that have been already reviewed, and you can then click on that and be like, oh yeah, roll under D20 system, Dragonbane uses it, let's go check out Dragonbane, that kind of thing. Now, I also have here, this I just built out today, so I don't know how it looks and utility-wise, but here is a list of the attributes thus far that have been used across all these games. And then here's a list of all the skills, and you can't see it. I have to move this up like this. But at the very bottom, you have your, you can click through all these different lists, and you can kind of find which ones you like. I like running as a skill. Crown and Skull uses running as a skill, etc. Right? Now, that is sort of like a breakdown of different mechanics and a look at, this is the breakdown of mechanics and the write-ups of the different games. And if you scroll down, if you go down to this portion, this is the randomizing table. So I'm trying to create tools that are helpful for GMs to unload some of that cognitive load. And the two I want to show, the only two I've built, are the non-player character ones, so NPCs and the encounters. NPCs, this is how it works. You want a full NPC? Boom. You click full NPC, it gives you a readout. And these are the influences, right? So these are different systems that I've looked at their charts. You can't see, there's a couple more down at the bottom. My screen's cutting off. Here, I'll do this and maybe we can get a little bit more. There they are. Different games that show, that have kind of influenced some of the writing that's in here. So the white is all going to be static, and the yellow are the randomly generated from the tables. If I do a quest giver, boom, it comes with a quest. Right, so here's your quest, and here's the person giving the quest. And if I do quick NPC, it's just a quick 3 bullet points, boom, 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 something to help you sort of get in the mood as a GM. Now, the most recent thing I built is this encounters one, and I really like this idea. And there's a little write-up here that talks about what you might expect, but I'm going to give you that now, right? I'm going to show you what it looks like. If I hit generate encounter, what do I get? I get a bunch of stuff, right? At the top left here, this is sort of like, what is the win condition for this encounter, and then where does it take place? It says in an airship. And this is going to be the environment, right? So there might be forest, cave, dungeon, castle, everything. There's an alternative win condition, right? So you don't know, maybe this doesn't jive with you, but if I hit generate, everything else changes. So there's an alternative win condition. Okay, maybe we got to stealth into this airship. Perfect, cool, that sounds good. This gives you a where is the starting location for these players, and you can see down here, there's a spoiler, but it randomly generates a map, and so this is just 2 different zones. But it randomly generates a map, and it tells you where you start, and then it also says the starting condition. What does this mean? The starting condition, there's 3 different types of starting conditions. There is a positive, a neutral, and a negative for the players. This is a positive one. There is an ally present or some sort, right? Whether they're in the encounter at the beginning or at the end or somewhere in there, but they could get help. Here's an optional NPC that might exist inside here, and it's the same as from that quick NPC generator before. And then here's an optional timer, right? And there's a little hover over. What does it mean to have an evolving battlefield? Well, maybe the floor is caving in, maybe the zones are moving, who knows? You get to come up with it on your own, and then you roll a D3, D4, D6 to kind of decide when that's going to happen. And maybe you tell the players this in advance or not. That's your decision, right? Over here is the combatants, right? So who is in this zone? Like, what are the bad guys? There's a starting condition for those combatants. Some of these don't make a lot of sense, because it might say friendly, because I just put a bunch of them in there. It's up to the GM to kind of say, nope, that doesn't make sense to me, right? And then it says what sort of involvement, like what kind of tactical group is this? This is a force group. There are things like a patrol group, a force group, a skirmishing group or something like that. I forget the names. A lot of them come from 5 Torches Deep. He has a great builder in the back of that game, and I mentioned that before you click this button. And so then here, he gives some of the types of minions or types of combatants that you might see in a force group. So you have a ranged unit, you have a brute, you have a leader, you have minions, you have soldiers and infantry. And then in here, this gives you a quick idea of what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. And then position-wise, would they be in the front of combat, middle, or the back, or are they a reinforcement, right? And then here are some quick techniques. What are different techniques that this group might have? Because if you don't have a game where you're like, oh, I have every monster already flushed out, maybe you're playing a real stripped down game and you just need ideas. So here are 3 different techniques to choose from. Here's an apply condition. So they put some sort of condition on the enemies when they either do an attack or they force them to make a save. Here's a shove. They can push people around. Here's a blast, right? So different things. Then at the bottom here, you have the map layout, and I can't scroll any lower, so I apologize for that. But here's the map layout. I'll do this. And what this does is it has elevation, right? So that's giving you an idea of where are these in relation to each other. So zone 1 is at elevation 5, zone 2 is elevation 1. All that really means to the GM is that this one's higher than this one, right? So if you have rules for advantage if you're higher up, then you'd have advantage if you're attacking from 1 to 2. Okay, cool. Room design. So what exists in this room? This room is set up. So the first bullet point is going to be either it's going to be nothing, standard, or it's going to have some sort of room design a la ICRPG, where Runehammer has some wonderful sort of like room design layouts, and this one would be an ambush, right? One enemy is drawing the good guys towards a bunch of bad guys. Here are some other terrain challenges. This is like difficult terrain potentially, so there might be some high scaffolding, right, located in this zone. This is all zone 1. You might find low cover in this location, so there might be some different type of cover system that's in there. So now you can say, oh yeah, I'll put a bunch of tables in here or some work desks or whatever. Then we have connections, and connections is just giving you an idea of how does zone 1 connect to zone 2. And this is cool. This is an aerial lift platform because this is higher than this one and we're in an airship, so it's an aerial lift platform. Now, there are other connections. So if you click on this one, it might have a different connection. You don't have to, you can choose one or the other, but they're just there for flavor, right? And then once again, this has its own room design. See, this is a basic room. There's nothing else in there. There's some maintenance catwalks and there's telescopes or spyglasses. I like to also put in here random things that the NPC or that the players might be able to use as improvisational weapons. I really liked that from Dragonbane as a system. All right, let's see another one. Boop. Here's another one. This has 3 rooms. 3 rooms. This is a patrol. Protect an NPC in elemental convergence. We're getting some weird environments, but I tried to build in there a percentage that you're going to get mostly normal environments. Like here's a cliffside, right? And this one didn't show up for some reason, but this is a 3 zone. I have 2, 3, or 4 zones. Let's see if we can get a fun 4 zone. Here we go, 4 zones. This is a disable a magical barrier underwater. That's kind of crazy. Or you could restore the broken seal, etc. Right? So this gives you hopefully an idea. Oh, there's one other thing here. There's a little button here called full unit list. So you get this group of units based on, oh, this is a swarm. Let me bring it up. This is a swarm tactic. So these are the units, right? You have a summoner and minions. So there's lots of like throwing bad guys at you. But let's say that you want other units. Let's say you want to do something else, but you don't want to hit the randomize button again because of you don't want to lose the rest of this because you like it. Here's a full units list button. So here are all the different types of potential units that you can use, their position, their strengths and weaknesses. So you can always click on this to get an idea of what else could I use for this encounter because I don't want to use what's up there. All right, so that's it. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what is going on this website of madness. This is literally just a passion project. If you like it, if you find it useful, if you have constructive feedback, if you have suggestions, one of the things I'm trying to think about is how I want to reorganize this over here, right? Because I want to add in things like, what's the theme of the game? You know, there's world building, but I think that's mechanical world building, right? This here is mechanical world building because it's under mechanics, whereas you might have other things like, what's the theme? I'm looking for, like, because you might come on here looking for an RPG that's like a horror survival RPG or something along those lines. And so there might be something like, I just want to look up these RPGs by their themes, that kind of thing, right? So I'm going to do that already, but you might have suggestions as to how to sort of like design this side. So anyways, that gives you an idea. There's obviously, I have a newsletter up here you can subscribe to if you want to. It's kind of sparse in terms of I don't have a set schedule for it yet, but there's been some fun ones on there. So that's it. That gives you an idea at jfacegaze.com. I hope you stuck around this video. Leave some comments because I want to hear them. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and I hope to update this thing a little bit more.